Hello everyone, and welcome back to some more SevTech Ages of the Sky. This is episode 12 in the Let's Play. First things first, we'll just go over a little bit with the blood magic here. I got, obviously, the black quartz in the last episode, so I could make the sword, so that I could turn it into the sentient sword. So that's just a petty tartaric in the Hellfire Forge with a black quartz sword. You don't need any actual will to do it, you just need something to put in the slot. So another blank petty tartaric or anything really will make the craft there for you. As I mentioned before, the power of the sentient sword depends on the amount of will that you have on you. So I had a smaller petty tartaric, and then I upgraded it to I made a bigger lesser tartaric afterwards. I had to fill up the first one up to at least 60 will, and then it used up 20 will out of that along with another petty tartaric, which I just made a blank there, fermented spider eye. That's just the vanilla recipe there. And now with 41 will in my lesser tartaric, my sentient sword does about 7.5 hearts on a swing. And yeah, I'm working my way up towards to get the blood sigil of the blood lamp, but this blood lamp reagent requires 200 will, so I'm going to need at least 200 in my lesser tartaric to be able to complete this craft here. So I had oh yes, and then so with the incense altar, I went and looked up looked it up on YouTube on how to build this out. I made this relatively small and then did a cursory test, and we'll just grab the divination sigil here, and with the divination sigil you can point it at your blood altar and it'll tell you how much blood is in it and what tier it is. So it's tier 2 with 5661 in it, and then also it will tell you your the increase in efficiency that you have on your incense altar. So I've got 500 tranquility, which gives me 53% bonus when I use the sacrificial dagger. And I found that not with the full 20 hearts, but with only like the 17.5, I wasn't quite back up on my fruit from the death in the beneath there. So I was with 17.5 hearts, it put in about 5,000 blood with one prick of the thing. So I don't think I need to expand this any further because I'm not going too much further deeper into the mod. But you watch the Let's Plays, they go over everything that you need to know, or not the Let's Plays, if you read the tutorials or watch tutorials on YouTube, it'll teach you how to do all of that. So the main content for this episode will be getting through the better with mod stuff. So I've got everything set up and ready to go here. All the pre-crafting's done, so we'll just go through it so that you can see how it's done for those of you who haven't used the mod before. So I made a little trough of running water here because my water wheel will need running water to spin. And if you wanted to make it like somewhere else, because at this point in the pack we don't have a way to place water down somewhere, if you wanted it to be further away from where you have a source block of water, you could use aqueducts. Aqueducts will move water an infinite number of blocks, but as soon as you run out of the aqueducts, then you get just the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks. That's vanilla mechanic there. So we have three different ways technically of producing power with the Better With mods. There's the Waterwheel, there's a vertical windmill, and a regular / horizontal windmill. So there's major disadvantages with the windmills in the fact that they spin quicker when it's raining or storming, and they can actually break your gearboxes. Add that to the fact that they are extremely intensive on your hemp fibers to craft. So the simple windmill requires 4 wind sails. Each wind sail requires 6 cloth and 3 planks, and each cloth itself is 9 hemp fibers, which for each hemp piece that you put into the mill, you'll get 3 out of it. So that's just to show you there how much hemp fiber you need to get there. And then the vertical windmill is even worse. You need 8 wind sails to get there. Whereas the Waterwheel, it's a lot easier on the resources. These wood blades is just a piece of glue, which you get by either putting rotten flesh in the cauldron, or you can actually put the hides in there as well. Since I had so many horse hides kicking around, I just threw a bunch of hides in there and made up a bunch of glue. And then some planks there gives you the wood blades. And then you just need to make the copper gear, which you get by putting 4 copper plates around a stone gear. A stone gear is just 4 stone. Now it can be any kind of stone, so if you've got granite lying around, you don't have to cook up cobblestone into smooth stone. And then the wooden gear, just to note that we do have a couple of new recipes for the wood gear here now that we're in Age 1. We don't have to do the buffalo thing anymore. You just use a piece of glue surrounded by sticks and a wood, or after you have the saw, you can just put an oak plank corner on the saw and you'll get 1 gear. And an oak plank corner is a, if you just put an oak plank molding, you'll get 2. An oak plank molding on the saw comes from an oak plank siding, and that gives you 2. And then an oak plank siding on the saw comes from putting a piece of oak wood planks, which gives you 2. So you can get up to 8 gears out of every single oak wood planks once you have the saw up and running, which we will get going in this thing. So gears are going to become quite trivial to make at this point in the pack. We'll just go over. So if you choose to make the windmills, then you will definitely want to make a bamboo chime and put it beside your gearbox, which will turn it off when it's raining, or I haven't seen a use for entity passing through it, but if you want to make that, it's pretty simple. You do need the saw, because you need the saw to get the molding there. So you will need to make something at least the very first before you can get there. Wooden axles, this is what we needed to get the quartz from the beneath for, and then the hemp rope, which is just 6 hemp fiber put together. So you'll need to do this in your millstone, cranking away, building up your build. That's how I built my food nutrition back up again. Wooden gearbox, the tricky one here is this thin slab. Thin slabs are just slabs on a chopping block, or I just did it in the horse chopping block there. And I actually mixed and matched. I had 1 birch wood slab and 1 oak wood slab, so I had 2 of each of those respective types, and it allowed me to make the wooden gearbox. So it doesn't have to be all the same. So if you just kind of want to use up some things you've got hanging around from other crafts, you can do it that way there. And then the last thing that we need to craft is the turntable, and to make the turntable we need these sidings. And sidings come from the saw, so that's why we actually had to make the saw, which is here. And this is pretty intensive craft in itself. Requires 2 copper gears and 1 bronze gear, so just note that that's not 3 copper gears and it's not 3 bronze gears. I've seen other YouTubers mess this craft up by thinking, they just go, okay, that's 3 bronze gears, or they cover over this one, okay, that's 3 copper gears, because the color is so close there. The leather belt itself is pretty easy. You just need some cordage, 4 cordage, and a piece of glue, or if you've got slime balls kicking around from blood or rice, there, pretty easy. And then the other one, which is a tin gear surrounded by 4 flaked flints to make the saw blade. Tin gear, once again, stone gear surrounded by tin plates. So I've crafted all of that up, and we'll go through it practically here for you guys. So your water wheel will take a 5 by 5 area to work. And yeah, good. Saved his own life by walking away. You'll need a placer block to place an axle against. So you'll put the axle down there. And I've got my flowing water underneath. And so I've got 2 on this side, 2 on this side, 2 down, and 2 up, which is all clear for the water wheel to be placed. So I just put that in, and now it has started turning. Next, we need a gearbox to put against here. Now, just note that the gearbox is sided. So it's got this one side, which is what needs to point towards the source of your torque or your power. So I will need it to place this way so that it goes against there, but you can also rotate it by just shift right clicking with an empty hand. So you can see that it just rotates like that. You don't need a special tool or anything like that to do that. So just to know that there. So we'll throw that down there, and we can see that it's there, so that's not the right way. And now we can't see it. Is it the right way? No, it's not. It's either up or down, so do it again. And maybe we can just do it while sitting down here. No, that's not really good either. The other way to tell is if you put an axle on it. So, there it is. So we just shift right click. If the axle is not spinning, it's not the right way. So we'll just keep clicking until we see it start spinning. So now we know it is the right way. Then we can put down our saw, and I forgot to bring wood. So let's just go grab some wood so that we can get that plank siding and make our turntable. Now the saw can be powered from either any of the sides, so you can have it coming into the bottom and you can put it on the ground or on, like it did here, on the side. There we go. So we got the siding that we needed, and let's just go finish up this craft for the turntable. The turntable is unique in that it has to be powered from the bottom. So that's why I put the axle where I wanted, on the top there, so that I could put the turntable down on top of it. Where'd my saw go now? Down there. So there we go. With the turntable, we can now proceed to make our first way of moving water in the pack is with the clay bucket. Clay bucket is a little bit of a rabbit hole in itself, so let's just take a look here. The clay bucket comes from firing an unfired clay bucket. To make the unfired clay bucket, we need to put a clay barrel extension on top of the turntable, and then there's probably a few different phases that it goes through before it gets to the bucket, and then we break it and we can get the bucket out of it. So let's just go grab some clay, make the barrel extension. Grab the clay. There we go. And then we just put that on top there, and it will go through some different phases. You just keep your thing pointed on it. Oh, there's only one actually, so that was pretty easy. So unfired clay bucket, we just need to throw that on the grill and we'll get a regular clay bucket, and then we can start moving water. And the reason why we need it here is not for age 1, but it will be getting into age 2 when we need to put lava in our melter or in our heater so that we can actually melt down iron, because we can't melt down certain things in there. So until we have the higher tier of temperatures. So iron is the one. To process it, we'll need lava to get a high enough temperature to break it down. So that's why we needed the clay bucket here, even though it doesn't say anything, but it's also a good way of moving things around. So that is it for this episode here. I will work on getting this set up a little bit more appropriately, and then forge our way into age 2 before I expand on my Better with Mods, because these axles get cheaper. There's a cheaper recipe once we get to age 2, so I just did a bare minimal setup for now, just to get myself out of it. So if I need the saw back, I can take off the turntable and put the saw there. And then likewise, if you're doing a whole bunch of hemp fibers or anything like that, you can actually put your millstone attached to the Better with Mods power source instead of using the hand crank. So thankfully we can finally get rid of this process. It's you know, it takes up all of your food, and as well it also is very timely to do, whereas with the power source you can just throw a stack in there and walk away. You will have to find a way to collect the drops because they just kind of spit out of it, but we can go over that in the future. I appreciate all of you for your view. I hope you're having a good one today. Any questions, as always, please just throw them down in the comments. I'm happy to answer. And in between episodes, I'll be working towards getting my blood lamp going. So like I said, we just need to get up to that wheel there, hopefully get rid of all of these torches. Hopefully get things a little bit more set up around here, because I want to start on doing some builds. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one.